person that is eating well and you are exercising and supplementing and you're still gaining weight, you're in the right place. So I'm Ronit, I'm Whole Food Revolution Happiness Coach.
I'm Nelum, I'm a GP. And Ronit, you're so right. There are so many people who come to me, and that's exactly what they say. They say, Doctor, I'm doing everything right. I'm doing everything right. Why am I still gaining weight?
Mm-hmm.
So then I step back and say, okay, let's just go through a little bit more. Tell me about your sleep. Tell me about how you manage stress. Tell me about communication. Do you have people around you that you go out with, enjoy their company,
And they probably look at you like, what does that have to do with this?
And also then, I think also then tell me about what happened in your childhood. Not necessarily they don't need to tell me, but have you had difficulties in your childhood? Because all of these have a relevance on our hormone, which we know, cortisol, which if cortisol is our stress hormone, and if cortisol is high, we've said it before, insulin is high. If insulin is high, you cannot access your fat stores, therefore you cannot lose weight, and that cortisol causes you to put weight on in the middle.
Yes. So if you need to hear that again, I suggest you can either rewind and listen to it again. When you have high cortisol, which is the stress hormone, then you have high insulin level. When you have high insulin level, you cannot access fat storages, which means that you can eat very well from now to the end of time, and you can exercise
like a maniac.
Yes, which that's an issue in itself. We'll talk about it sometime later. You will not be able to lose weight. Why? Because think about it this way. You're in the jungle. We are animals living in the jungle. When you are in danger, you're under a threat, the body does not have the time to say, oh, shall I lose a bit of weight now and look gorgeous and wonderful and maybe, no, you cannot do that. It's like, I wish we could, but we cannot do that because we are not programmed to do that. This body is supposed to keep us safe, And safety means that now at the moment, high cortisol, I can do.
Yes. So that means that we need to have high sugar levels in the blood.
Exactly. We need energy.
We need to store fat just in case problem is going to carry on. This is not the time if you have high stress. And the problem is any woman over the age of 40, unless you've taken time to look at these other matters, this time is stressful. There's a lot going on in women's lives. Perimenopause, children, partners, work, elderly parents, illness in themselves, work problems. So there's so much going on. So it's not just about eating right, exercising and supplementing. You've got to think about your emotional health, about your stress levels. How do you manage them?
Yes. So we highly recommend all of you who are feel overwhelmed, and it is challenging time. We highly recommend all of you to go and check our emotional eating workshop, because in this workshops we really working on understanding the science behind the emotional eating. You need to understand that we are emotional beings. The things that we do is to gain certain feelings, and emotional eating is not a problem of you don't have a willpower. Yeah. It has nothing to do with this. It's all chemical, and we can address it if you are willing to do that.
Yes, and also willing to realize that is an issue. right? It's because a lot of people don't want to look at that element. I think in a way it might be too hard.
It is hard. Actually,
Yes.
it is hard. And I think we're proud of ourselves for addressing those topics. Why? Because as we said before, we believe in the holistic approach. Because if you just touch one aspect,
Yes. And then I
It
learned
doesn't
that,
work.
Ronit. I used to pride myself because I thought I was teaching the science to my patients and I loved it, but then realized wasn't enough. And knowing what goes up here is really important, and that's what this lady comes in.
So we highly
Yes.
recommend all of you go and look at our website, check our emotional eating workshop. And if you do like everything that we're doing in here, please like,
Subscribe
and
share. Bye.
Thank you.